Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we are going to talk about Teela Goremane, as you see, featuring in a fun Spider 25 relevant burn team where she is the featured DPS. Now, Teela has most famously been a Vault Guardian, one of the lowest regarded champions in Raid Shadow Legends, as far as the Legendary is concerned anyway, but was recently part of a trio of buffs that they did for Vergamkar, Killian, and Teela. Now, when I did some polling on the channel, people seemed most excited about the Teela changes, so I wanted to get an infographic out there for you, for those people that are interested in building a Teela. I also booked her and maxed her out during the last CVC. I've done a little bit of testing in builds like this in the Spider. I've also tried her out in the Hydra, so we're just going to talk about her as a champion and my thoughts on the balance changes, get you that infographic, how to build her, how to use her, and just my general thoughts on her as a champion in the post-buff Teela Goremane era. So let's get into it. Alrighty, now right out the gate, as always for my champion videos, we have got an infographic right over there that I will link down below for you to pull up on your end if you would like. Just a spot to all encompass the champion, the multipliers, the base stats, a suggestion for masteries, and all that type of stuff if you are interested in that. And okay, your quick overview encompassing of Teela is she is a Magic Affinity Orc Legendary categorized as a support that is going to be scaling with HP. Now we'll go over the multipliers and stuff here in a little bit and how it compares to other HP champions. People are always curious about the damage and the nuking capabilities, so we'll talk about that and compare it. But anyway, you know, the A1 going to be stealing a random buff and also has a chance to steal another random buff if they've got multiple buffs. And then we're going to get an AoE HP burn. And this was what people seemed to be the most excited about, was this capability to do the AoE HP burn, but also we're going to place a continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns, staying true to the support role. And then we've got another AoE that's going to increase the duration of all HP burns while also giving us a leech and a hex. So lots of utility somewhere like the Hydra to get some consistent heals on both the A2 and the A3 while also keeping that AoE hex up, and we've got a rotation of 3 and 4 when booked up on the cooldowns. Then for the base stats, I want to pull up a new tool that we have been developing when we talk about the base stats and the multipliers. And boom, there is that. Now give us a break on this. This is still rough draft. We are working tirelessly, coding things like this and making the website better. We're getting ready to release a new version, so everything's going to be completely different, but we're still working on stuff behind the scenes, and I'm showing you stuff as soon as it is available for use. So this is going to get a lot optimized, or a lot more optimized. Sorry, I can't speak today. But anyway, this is a really cool tool that just lays out all the stats in the game for all the champions, and then it is color-coded. Like red would be below average, green would be above average. So what we can do is we can put in Teela Goremane, and boom, now we've got the stats laid out right there. And because of decimal rounding, the way it's coded in the game, sometimes it pulls it a little bit different. Like you can see the HP is 1 HP off, but it's going to be within 1 because of the decimals. And what we can see is she's got good tanky stats, and the HP and the defense significantly above average. The almost 22k is pretty good for HP. And then we can also see the multipliers over there on the right of 0.2 HP, 0.22, and 0.2. So all the abilities are basically a 0.2. Now, something that people like to do is compare the multipliers between champions. So let's do Sir Nicholas, and boom, you can see that so he's got a little bit better multipliers at 0.28 and 0.25. And then let's also do Magnar, and you'll see why Magnar is so famous as a nuker. Look at that, a 0.37. So Teela is not going to have the multipliers to nuke people down like somebody or like a Magnar, for example, but definitely has some pretty solid base stats. The 98 base speed is perfectly average, as you can see up top. 98 is the average base speed in the game, so Teela's right in line with that, with some pretty solid tanky stats, but is not going to be a nuker. We're going to be using her for the AoE utility that she brings with the HP burn, the leech, and the hex. But now let's head on over to the Teela that I've got built here on my main account, and we'll talk about the gearing process and everything that goes into building her, the masteries, and all that good stuff. So, okay, here is the Teela that I've got put together. And when we are building a Teela, remember we need lots of accuracy. Accuracy is going to be a staple in the utility of her kit because we've got to be constantly landing debuffs, and even her A1 needs accuracy because we're going to be stealing a buff or multiple buffs. So every single ability that Teela does needs accuracy. That means we have to prioritize it, and you have to pay attention to that number to make sure you have enough accuracy based on the content that you are clearing. Because of that, the banner is typically going to be accuracy. Then besides that, on all of our pieces, we're going to be looking for HP is what we're going to kind of lean towards favoring, but we need toughness stats. So speed, accuracy, and toughness stats, scaling or leaning towards HP. For the amulet, remember, she's not like a Magnar. She's not some HP nuker. Even though she does have 2 AoE abilities, we're kind of using her for the utility. So you probably want to go an HP amulet with accuracy as a substat, and then an HP ring with as much toughness as you can get. Now, if you're using Teela in the context of the AoE HP burn within a certain strategy, like I'll show you utilizing her in Spider 25 and all of that, you want to make sure the speed is tuned properly. She's not like a turn meter booster or anything like that, so the speed doesn't need to be 275 or anything, but you want to make sure the speed is proper, and if you can pull that off with HP percent boots, that is perfectly fine. On the chest and the gloves, you're probably going to want to go HP, or at least something with defense that has a lot of HP as a substat. The top ones are pretty easy. We need accuracy, speed, and HP/toughness. Then for the booking process, so Teela is going to take 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 5 is going to be 13 books. Now, that is a lot. So, is she worth 13 books? It's going to depend on your account. But I would say on the A1, we only get damage from the books. So this may be an opportunity for you to save a book or two and pull it off for like 11 books instead of 13. Because what we want to get is the buff debuff chance, and then the chance plus the cooldown on the A3. And then you don't really need the damage on the A1. So if you can max out, if you get some good RNG, you max out the A2 and the A3, then why not leave the A1 at level 2 or whatever? It depends on the RNG you got, but an opportunity to save a couple books, so you want to be careful when booking her up. Then for the masteries, War Master is a good option on her because she does do damage every single turn and is going to have all of those AoEs constantly popping off. So I do like the War Master choice on her, especially if you're using her in the Hydra. It's going to contribute a lot to her damage, doing damage every turn and hitting so many opponents and stuff like that. You also want the support tree for the accuracy and all of that, obviously. So this should be a pretty generally useful setup for Teela, and I do have it in the infographic that I have linked down below if you want to pull up those masteries whenever you would like. Now let's go ahead and show her in action. I will show you me utilizing Teela in a Spider 25 team here with Ultimate Death Knight. They are kind of a dream team in the Spider. You've got Ultimate Death Knight to soak everything up and keep the team alive, and then you got Teela to do the AoE HP burns and make the Spiderlings do a bunch of damage to the boss, and eventually we can burst it down with a pretty reasonable Spider 25 team here. Now this is not my main team. This was me testing a Teela for the video. I've got a team that does the Spider in like 20 seconds. With like a Sishia and all that, but Teela can fill this role with a promo champion like UDK, where we've got him kind of tanking everything. You can see the 2 awesome to die passive tanking everything. We've got the AoE HP burns from Teela, constantly smashing the Spider with that damage. Teela there again with the AoE HP burn. We've got Cold Hearts, a rare champion, to do a bunch of damage and suppress the turn meter. So a very reliable option for taking down the Spider here. We're going to get the big heal coming from the Spider pretty soon here, and then the team will end up probably taking like a minute 20 or so. But I was able to slot Teela into that role for a successful Spider 25 team. So now we fast forward a little bit when we're about a minute 20 something into the run, and it should be finishing any time here because we've got those Teela HP burns constantly on the Spiders, and boom, there we go. Teela Goremane successfully being featured as the main DPS carry in a Spider 25 run because of her utility now with the constant mass AoE HP burns. And I did also try to use Teela as a damage dealer in the Hydra. Now, Hydra runs can take forever, so I'll show you kind of, we'll fast forward to the results of some of that testing, and I'll talk about it here. So I tried to use her on a more accessible difficulty that most people that hit the Hydra could at least relate to. So I did Hydra normal, and we did this live on stream. We were doing some testing and stuff. So what you can see is Teela. Let me pull out my pen, actually. Here we go, and boom. So Teela is going to be right here, and you can see that that Teela did 4.5 million. And then over here, I've got my Sishia, which did 5.8. Now, I'm sure there's a way to maybe prioritize Teela with like the godliest of gear and stuff like that to close this gap between her and Sishia. But what this tells me personally, you can let me know if you disagree. What this tells me from the testing that I've done is that she is she's a pretty good budget damage dealer, somewhere like the Hydra. She's not going to be like the godliest champion in the game for the Hydra, but for those of you that are looking for some budget DPS options for like Team 2 or Team 3, I do think Teela can be a realistic option to slot into there. Most of your teams out there are going to feature like 2 damage dealers, so once you get to like Team 2 and 3, I could see her being one of the options that you put into that role, because you can see Sishia is great, and she kept up, you know, about 20% or so less than Sishia in the build that I had her in that you saw earlier when we were going over the gearing. So, okay, wrapping up all of these thoughts. Do I think it was a good change? Do I think she's a good legendary and all of that now that I've actually maxed her and tested her with viewers and used her on my main account and tried to do all these different roles like the Spider and the Hydra and all of that? I would say it depends a lot on your account. Like, if you don't have a good option for AoE HP burn, then I think Teela makes a lot of sense for that person to build. If you've already got a bunch of AoE HP burners, then maybe not. But also, do you have AoE leech? Do you have a reliable hex to bring into the Hydra? If you don't have 3 fully fleshed out, ready to go Hydra teams, I do think Teela can make sense for those 2 players, because she can slot in as a budget option, decent damage dealer for the Hydra, and she can also be an AoE HP burner for somewhere like the Spider. So I think they did a pretty good job buffing her. I think it makes sense. I think she has a role in the game now. She's not going to be some top 5 legendary, some god tier platinum arena champion or anything, but in a game of almost 800 champions, not all of them can be that. I do think she at least has a niche and a role in the game. So all in all, I like her changes, and I think she makes sense for some accounts out there to consider building. So that is my thoughts on Teela after building her and all of that. And remember, I will have that infographic down below for you if you would like to pull that up and take a look at the general all-encompassing information that we talked about in this video. But yeah, let me know what you think about Teela and the changes and the buffs, and if any of you have tested her and all that. It's always fun to hear your input as well. So remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace.